commenced supervisory visits to various ports of entry to assess the effectiveness of the Ministry of Health and Child Care protocols and the new quarantine regulations associated with increased human traffic in light of the reopening of the country's tourism sector. Cabinet was also informed that since the reopening of both domestic and international flights, port authorities are complying with COVID-19 guidelines and standard operating procedures for the safety of both airport staff and travelers. Airlines that have resumed flights to Zimbabwe include Rwanda Air, Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airlines, and Emirates. Cabinet noted that preparations are underway to ensure that schools are ready for phase 2 of reopening when grade 6, Form 3, and Form 5 classes resume. Then Cabinet received this report on ease of doing business reforms in the agricultural sector. This update was given by the Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement, Dr. Masuka. The reforms are intended to create an enabling environment that promotes competitiveness in the agriculture sector by improving the time, cost, and processes which clients pass through when obtaining regulatory documents. In this regard, the cost of acquiring the necessary health certification documents have since been reduced by at least 40% through amendment of Statutory Instrument 94 of 2016. The compliance certificate now costs 25 Zimbabwe dollars from the initial US $100. Furthermore, Statutory Instrument 83 of 2013 was repealed, thereby removing the levy paid by transporters at ports of entry and exit. Cabinet also wishes to inform the public that one-stop permit processing office has been established at the ministry head office. The office brings together regulatory agencies, which include Marketing Authority and Plant Quarantine Services. Clients no longer need to travel to Mazoe Plant Quarantine Station to obtain plant import permits. The Veterinary Services and the National Biosafety Authority will soon join the one-stop office. At the Beitbridge border post, clients can now pay only once for a range of services using the SCUDA system under the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority. The electronic system for issuance of permits will soon become operational, thereby facilitating virtual applications for imports and exports permits. Cabinet further wishes to inform the nation that export permit validity for all controlled agricultural produce has now been increased to 6 months, with effect from August 2020. The possibility of merging livestock-related levies into one is also being considered. In order to expedite issuance of stock clearance for movement, Cabinet encourages farmers to adopt livestock identification and traceability. Then Cabinet received a report on pre-budget strategy paper. Cabinet received and approved this 2020 pre-budget strategy paper, which was presented by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Mutuli Ncube. Cabinet was informed that the 2021 budget strategy paper constitutes a valuable tool which is intended to guide consultative discussions and sharing of ideas on national priority policies, programs, and projects. Cabinet noted that prospects for 2021 and beyond are based on recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, resumption of global economic activity, a good agricultural season, and enhanced revenue collection. Economic revival will also hinge on sustainability of the foreign currency auction system, trade and tourism resumption, the materialization of mining investments targets, and the firming of international mineral prices. It is also anticipated that domestic demand will recover, that currency stability will strengthen, and that annual inflation will decline. The areas of focus for the 2021 national budget are guided by the National Development Strategy 2021 to 2025, which will be launched by the first week of November 2020. The National Development Strategy is a successor to the Transitional Stabilization Plan, which is coming to an end in December 2020. The strategy will consolidate the achievements of the TSP as we move towards Vision 2030 of attaining an upper middle income status economy. Guided by the ongoing NDS, that's National Development Strategy consultations, the 2021 budget will focus on critical areas which include the following: inclusive growth and macro stability, development and supporting productive value chains, optimizing value in our national resources, infrastructure, ICT, and the digital economy, human capital development as well and well-being, effective governance, and engagement and re-engagement. Then Cabinet received a report on weather outlook for the 2020 to 2021 summer season and forecast implications thereof. Cabinet received the weather report and outlook for the period 9th to 16th of October 2020, which the Minister of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry presented, together with the National Preparedness Planning for emergencies related to the 2020-2021 rainfall season. And this report was presented by the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Honorable July Moyo. Cabinet was informed that some parts of the country received thunderstorms which were accompanied by lightning in some places. Other areas witnessed strong winds and hailstones which destroyed houses in some places. However, the nation is advised that effective rainfall is usually received around mid-November for most parts of the country. Those farmers who may want to start planting should liaise with the Agri-Tex offices. Regarding the country's preparedness for emergencies likely to occur during the 2020-2021 rainfall season, the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Honorable July Moyo, informed Cabinet that with high rainfall amounts expected during this 2020-2021 rainfall season, government is getting ready to deal with anticipated disasters. This is in view of the widespread damage experienced in the past during Cyclone Dineo in 2017 and Cyclone Idai in 2019. Accordingly, the National Contingence Plan for the 2020-21 rainfall season has been crafted to deal with the wide range of hazards which can be expected, which may include flash flooding, severe thunder, wind and hailstorms, landslides, and major human and animal disease, as well as crop pest outbreaks. Cabinet resolved to capacitate departments that are critical in early warning systems and approved a budget amounting to US 32 million for the facilitation of early recovery from potential adverse impacts from the 2020-21 rainfall season. We want to thank you for always supporting us, and thank you very much for listening. I am now to you, Chief Secretary, for the second round.
Briefing. Now we come to question time. As usual, we have two sessions. Session 1 for questions at most. Who wants to study the ball? Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Kudai Manziri. I'm a finance journalist. My question is going to the Honorable Minister of Finance and Education. While preparations are underway for phase 2 of schools opening, I would want to know what is the position now in terms of the negotiation with teachers during the direct work. Because of late we've seen quite a number of footage of children engaging in nasty stuff, smoking drugs at school because they're not teachers. So maybe the minister might shed more light how far are they with the negotiations so that at least when phase 2 comes, teachers will get that right.
Okay. Any other volunteer? Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Blessed Utam from Heart and Soul TV and Radio and Newsday. My question will go to the Minister of Local Government. I wanted to know that since our currency that we are supposed to use is local Zimbabwean dollar, why is your budget for disaster preparedness States dollar. My question also goes to the chairperson of the COVID response. I've noted that we have actually opened up the economy in most of the sectors of the economy, including accepting the foreign tourists into the country. Why are we opening up all the other sectors of the economy and closing up sectors of democracy like elections? By elections, we've closed that out at a time where you're opening up everything else. Why are we doing that? And maybe because the Minister of Finance just walked in, just wanted to understand the major highlights on the pre-budget strategy paper. What are Zimbabweans expecting to see that could actually, as you said in your statement, that there's going to be current stability and strengthening of the economy? What indicators could we expect?
More than two.
3 actually.
Okay. Any other volunteer? Yes, at the back.
Thank you very much. My name is Louis Kolisani. I've got 2 questions, but one for the Minister of Primary School Education. Phase 1 seemed to be like a challenge. Last week you said 29% of the teachers have completed well. My question is, what's the rationale then? If not all schools have opened phase 1, what guarantee do we have that the kids who go back to phase 2 will be safe and also focusing on what they're supposed to do? Another question goes to the Minister of Chairperson of the Corporate Task Force. We have reopened our country, and when do we open the English?
That's one. What we can get back.
More than 4 questions, Chief Secretary. That's all right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and thank you once again. Those who have asked very good questions. Madzire wanted to know from Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, since now that you are preparing for the phase 3, he wanted to know how far you've gone with the negotiations with teachers to make sure that teachers all go back to work. Minister? You good?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This issue is discussed. The issue of negotiations, in any case, there is Minister Mavima responsible for that. So we didn't discuss the issue. Thank you.
Mr. Madzire, you can always contact the Minister Professor Mavima, who is in charge of who is actually going through the negotiations. He'll be able to help you. Let's move on to Blessed Mhlanga's question, and the question is directed to Minister of Local Government, Honorable July Moyo. He's asking why your budget is in US dollars, since our currency, we have our own local currency. Minister July.
Thank you, Chairman. And I want to thank Blessed Mhlanga for this patriotic observation.
I like that.
And I can assure you the budget is in Zim dollars at $2.7 billion. Putting it in US dollars is because we have 7 pillars which we want to make sure we are prepared for our disasters that might result because of the floods. And our first one is our early warning system, which obviously are looking for equipment that might have been influenced, putting it in US dollars because the equipment is going to be imported from outside. And of course, the rest is in Zim dollars, the education we need to do to alert people about what's going to happen. And because of early warning, if our meteorological service department is well equipped, we know that we can warn our people. The rescue is in Zim dollars, and the relief that might come, that might be needed using either aircraft, the Air Force, or ZRP, the Aqua system, these and the disease controls. Some of the diseases obviously we will need to import, but definitely the budget is in Zim dollars. I also want to say today is the International Day for Disaster Reduction, and we as Zimbabwe are joining everybody in planning for disaster reduction, and this is part of our Sendai framework agreement that all countries are observing this day as a day of disaster reduction. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable July Moyo, for answering Blessed on that one. And I think that was a comprehensive answer. Thank you very much. We go to the next question again by Blessed Mchanga. And this is now directed to the chairperson of the Task Force on Interministerial Committee on COVID-19 Outbreak, Honorable Muchinguri Kashiri. He wants, Blessed wants to know, he actually said, yes, we've witnessed the economy being opened now, including even foreign tourists into the country. And he would like to know why the democratic elections have not been allowed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkanda. Let me start by saying that all the sectors that have been opened, which have an economic bearing, are a result of long consultations with those particular sectors, which result in government putting in place statutory instrument with very specific rules and regulations which apply to WHO rules and regulations. And so there is no problem in as far as all those sectors are concerned. What we have not received also are presentations from the from the other political space, democratic space, approaching government to say that they are ready to engage government so that elections are held. And for us to make decisions for these sectors which do not demonstrate to observe the WHO rules and regulations at this point, I would rather not comment on it until that time comes. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Mchinguri Kashiri. And we go to the next question, which is Professor Mutuli Nyube. You're here. Oh, welcome. And as you walked in, Blessed was waiting for you. And Blessed Mchanga, I would like to hear major highlights on the pre-budget paper which you presented today in Cabinet, especially to show what indicators should people be looking at. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. First cabinet presentation. I was at the cricket event where we were sending our cricketers away to Pakistan, as well as branding them visit Zimbabwe, which is fantastic for our tourism, but also for our revival after COVID-19 crisis. On the pre-budget strategy paper, agenda, I think this is Blessed who asked the question.
Yes.
As you know, this tool basically is it's just a tool for us to engage youth, to engage the party, to engage the parliamentarians, to engage each other within government, the private sector, and everyone in terms of what we need to put in our budget for 2021. So it truly becomes a budget that will stimulate growth, that will drive the equity agenda in all its forms, and that will drive the development of our country, including development in a spatial measure. So the typical flow of the document really goes through just affirming how the 2021 budget fits into the trajectory of our, in terms of fits into the roadmap towards Vision 2030, basically being an enactment document for the NDS, National Development Strategy, which will launch soon, and then followed by the second one, all the way up to Vision 2030. So really that's the first part, just to show that it is grounded on that roadmap. But also, we say that this budget also is taking the platform of the Development Foundation has been set by the TSP. So in the BSP paper, we also analyze how we think we've done in terms of the Transitional Stabilization Program. It is up, it's concluding in December. It was launched on the 4th of October 2018, as you know. So really, 2 years on, we're trying to assess how we've done, and that's the foundation that we're building is concerned. As we typically do, of course, we try to give a summary of how the global economy is expected to perform. Basically, the takeaway is that there's a big dip this year in global economic growth, and we expect full recovery next year. The rate of growth is lowest in the developed countries and is less severe in the developing world, including ourselves here in Africa and Zimbabwe. So we expect a recovery all around. Of course, there are risks. If the COVID-19 pandemic persists in the way it does, that presents a risk to the global economy naturally. But also we show that there are risks in terms of some of the trade tensions, the tensions among the major economies such as United States and China. All those are risks to the global economy. We then transition naturally to an analysis of how we fared under the press conference with yourselves on that. But what's really coming out is that we've done, I think, you are well in terms of ticking all the boxes under the TSP, where they are looking at macroeconomy in terms of stabilization, in terms of introducing a new currency which is now stable, in terms of our efforts trying to deal with inflation, in terms of our efforts in just restoring full monetary policy, fiscal consolidation, and dealing with all balance in the current account. We want to achieve all of those. But also we continued with our infrastructure development, with our governance reforms, and also supporting the vulnerable in terms of our social sector expenditure, social protection initiatives, right across the board, the full bouquet of social protection measures in that, and we managed to reach all of those. But also recognize what we've done in terms of the engagement on COVID-19 response, as well as the education sector. So we've gone through that, and I'm just summarizing our achievements under TSP. Then we transition in the paper to the macro fiscal framework for the 2021 budget. Of course, we make an assumption, as I've said earlier, that we expect recovery from COVID-19, or just learn to cope with it and find a way around it. I think we do that already. And then we're expecting an assumption of global economic growth. We're expecting a good agricultural season. The last 48 hours has been particularly encouraging. I hope that continues. and then we want to enhance revenue collection, we want to sustain the auction system for currency, we want to support tourism and trade resumption initiatives, with tourism particularly impacted by COVID. And we want to support, obviously, the mining sector and the fishing sector. And again, it's an assumption that international as well as other commodity prices will continue to remain firm, and aggregate demand domestically will continue to increase. And of course, total macro fiscal stability that will continue certainly strive to maintain. And I also want to make sure that we domesticate our value chains, productive value chains, by within import substitution. And import substitution in terms of the oil plants, but it's domesticating value chains, productive value chains through plants. So really, those are the assumptions. So we expect the economy to recover, public finances to remain strong, the market sector to remain stable, and we expect recovery to continue. And because of that, our basically payoff planning for the pre-budget budget may fine-tune when we get the budget. Really building resilience and recovery post-COVID-19, building resilience and recovery post-COVID-19. Now, in terms of the pillars of the budget on the paper, we have several pillars. One is focusing on inclusive growth and macro stability. Two is developing and supporting productive value chains. Three is optimizing value of our natural resources. Four is supporting infrastructure development, ICT, and the digital economy. And then five is human capital development and well-being. And then six, building effective institutions and governance institutions. And seven is engagement and re-engagement. You can imagine under inclusive growth and macro stability, we have the usual macro issues, fiscal, monetary, but also that's where we have devolution as well, its forms, youth, job creation, just being inclusive in terms of all groups, the SME sector, being gender sensitive in the way we do things, and the youth issue. Then on the value chains, again, this is all our support for agriculture, Fufuza, presidential input scheme, and then our commercial smart stock command agriculture, which we're doing in partnership with banks, and then supporting the horticulture recovery plan. And then on the manufacturing sector, again, we want to really roll out our national industrialization strategy, which is very clear as to what should be done again to support domestic value chains and to domesticate productive value chains. And then natural resources, we're focusing on the mining sector, towards a $12 billion industry, brick by brick, year by year, towards the year 2023, and we need to support the sector and the ministry realizing that vision. So that we have value for money, and we do have value for money. And then the tourism sector, naturally, this needs to be supported with the tourism recovery plan. We're targeting a $5 billion industry, and again, we want to support it in the concentric way that we've articulated, which is domestic tourism, regional tourism, international tourism, image building, and branding. So those concentric cycles as we widen the coverage in terms of tourism. I did say that infrastructure, ICT, digital economy are a key pillar. Pillar 4, that's what we expect. We want to again invest more in the ICT sector. With a new way of working, I didn't know I could have so many meetings and attend so many global meetings through Zoom, and I think we're all discovering that. In fact, as we speak, we're in the middle of the IMF World Bank annual meetings, and it looks normal, but we love the travel. So clearly, ICT is the new normal in terms of work environment, but also supporting various industries. We want to invest in that. Then within infrastructure, I want to support housing, the capacity of the National Housing Fund, national housing, including urban renewal, and also urban infrastructure. All that is critical for driving economic growth. And obviously transportation, whether it's roads, airports, and so forth, energy sector, water and sanitation, our dams and rural sanitation issues, those are going to be supported in the budget. And 6, human capital development and well-being. Here we're looking at really health, education sector, health sector, looking for the software, the hardware. Hardware is the facilities, is the equipment. Software being simply perhaps human capital in the sector that we need to support, and we want to grow the number of health workers over time, and actually we will support that, as well as the emoluments, but also managerial systems within the health sector, and make sure that we drive those synergies between our health ministry and Ministry of Higher Education. Then the education sector. Higher education again emphasizing the principles of education 5.0 at all those levels, which is really education to production of knowledge, but knowledge which produces goods and services, not just knowledge which is knowledge sake. And that is clear in terms of what we've seen in the PDP that has been produced right through the education sector as testimony to change of gear towards productive knowledge. We then tend to Pillar 5, which is effective institutional building and governance. We are looking at property rights, allowing laws to the constitution, strengthening our social contract processes and procedures, rebuilding our state-owned enterprise, dealing with corruption and capacitating the institutions that are dealing with corruption, and then capacitating ZIDA, which is our institution for attracting foreign direct investment, as well as driving domestic investment, and all ease of doing business environment also supported through the budget. And finally, in external areas, again, now that COVID, well, at least we're getting used to it in terms of coping with it, we now move up a gear in our external areas clearance agenda. And finally, in terms of the diaspora engagement, we again want to deepen our engagement with our diaspora, about the diaspora. The bulk for our diaspora is in South Africa. So 48% of the people out there are in South Africa, followed by the UK at 17%, and then Australia at United States at 7.4%, Australia at 5.3%. So we know where they live and want to engage them for their skills, for their networks, and for resources. So that's the BSP's engagement. But the consideration process for the budget has already started.